Welcome to Oregon Outdoors. I'm Mark Freeman. Now every week we take you someplace really cool in this awesome state of ours. Do some really fun outdoor stuff, usually with some really interesting people too. And stick around and usually get a chance to learn something as well. This week we're going to take you somewhere interesting where geology and hydrology meet gravity. Waterfalls. Chasing waterfalls is a spring thing in Southern Oregon, which is home to a fantastic waterfall tour by car and by foot. The Rogue and Umpqua river basins are home to some spectacular falls. Some long, some short. Some up close, and some from across basalt gorges. It's a total bucket list tour for Oregonians and others who come from far away to see gravity in all its beauty. We're on the tour now, highlighting some of the better ones, and we'll even show you how to best capture cascading water in JPEG images you can keep for years to come. The trip is from Medford to Roseburg via the Rogue Umpqua Scenic Byway. So on our tour, starting down in Medford and going all the way to Roseburg, first stop is Prospect. There's 3 wonderful waterfalls right next to town. This is the first one. It's Mill Creek Falls. Now Mill Creek is that beautiful little stream that runs right through the town of Prospect. And here it just comes flying out of the basalt down 173 feet to the Rogue River below. It's gorgeous. So after Mill Creek Falls, just a short, pretty flat walk down to the next waterfall, just around the bend, Bar Creek Falls. Check it out. So Bar Creek Falls is a little bit different than Mill Creek. As you can see, there's 2 drops. Kind of comes right off the top, kind of goes down. Then you got this beautiful little ribboning down to the Rogue River below. It's a 242-foot drop in 2 spots. Now it just comes from right out near the city of Prospect. Up there is a logging show of a couple years ago, and I think a century ago there was a mill right up there too. What you see over here is really common for the kind of waterfalls you see in the Rogue River Gorge. You know, these creeks just come flying off the top of the mesas here and cascade down these basalt faces. And this is all a rock that got here when Mount Mazama blew its top 8,000 years ago to create Crater Lake. It's basalt right here, right now. It makes a perfect place to sit and watch the falls. Here's another one just off Mill Creek Drive. Short walk down this wood chip trail. Now, remember Bar Creek and Mill Creek Falls, we had to see them from afar, from across the gorge. Well, this trail has taken us to our next waterfall, and we did up close and personal with it. One of my favorites, Pearsony Falls. It's not the biggest waterfall around, but I just love the way it kind of cascades over all this moss. It's about a 21-foot drop, but always the sun seems to fall right on the water. It's just a beautiful place. Mill Creek flows just right through the town of Prospect, and before this thing launches off the top into the Rogue River, it goes through Pearsony Falls. Waterfalls are the classic synergy, a sum greater than its parts. First, we got geology. These basalt rocks funnel flows where lava once raced. Then there's hydrology. Melting snow cascades off the mountains towards main rivers like the road. And gravity makes it all happen in spectacular fashion. It's why we're here. It's why we live here. Now on Oregon Outdoors, we're heading north from Prospect to Union Creek on Highway 62 to some of the most photographed forests in Western Oregon. Beautiful stuff. And at Union Creek, there's a pullout to a short walk to one of the things every Oregonian needs to see. Now for the second leg of our spring waterfall tour, I'm going to stop at probably the most photographed waterfall in this entire tour, the Rogue River Gorge. Now it's this beautiful spot where the entire Rogue River funnels through a collapsed lava tube. It's another one of those things from the blowing up of Mount Mazama. I tell you, I've been here a lot. This place never disappoints. Lava tubes are fascinating features throughout southern Oregon. Lava from Mount Mazama flowed underground and formed a hard crust on top. After the lava stopped flowing, it left these cave-like features all over the place. When the tops collapsed, you get these basalt alleys where rivers like the Rogue flowed. The Rogue Gorge is perhaps the best example of this phenomenon. It's super, super cool. So our next waterfall is National Creek Falls. Now this one's on a lot of people's lists. It's on pretty much every tour. It's just off Highway 230. It's about 3-4 miles in on forest roads before you get to the trailhead. Steep half-mile hike down, even steeper on the way back up. But it's definitely worth your time. National Creek Falls, get a load of this thing. Cascading ribbons of just white water, there's tons of mist. Isn't this beautiful? You can feel this waterfall just kind of pounding through you, just standing just right close to this. I swear, this is why we're here. This is why we live here. The new cameraman, John Decker, trying to impress us here. Now, I just did this for kicks. I don't know if we're going to use this shot or not, but I just thought, would he really go in the water if I asked him to? I want to use that. Okay, one of the best places to actually see this falls is from the other side of the creek. And in the summer, it's real easy to get there. You can walk along these logs that go from one end to the other. Just don't do it in the spring when they're wet. They're extremely slippery. Okay, we're talking waterfalls in Oregon Outdoors, and when it comes to taking big-time images of these falls, I can't think of anyone better to help you figure this out than my friend and colleague, Jamie Lush. I can't believe it, Jamie. In one form or the other, you and I have been doing Oregon Outdoors together for 14 years. Can you believe that?
14 years?
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself a big old pat on the back for surviving Mark Freeman for 14 years.
Hey, what about me, man? You're not the easiest guy in the world to be
Yeah,
around
I
with.
guess you get one too.
We have so much fun doing this, but hey, you can't blame me for this stuff. I mean, I know, you were an outdoor photo geek well before you got around me.
You know, if you would have asked me when I was 8 years old what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said I want to be just like Marty Stouffer. Marty Stouffer, yeah, he was my hero. I used to watch him with my dad. Marty Stouffer was this crazy guy. He was a great writer, had this amazing voice, and he would just go off on adventures into the wilderness and document it with cameras. And I think he started off on tiny little local broadcast TV, and then he made his way up to a national program, Wild America.
Wild America, yeah.
You go back and watch some of those, they're pretty cool, but that sparked a fire in me at a pretty young age.
Then you end up in the newspaper bracket.
Well, you know, I was taking pictures all throughout, you know, high school and college, and I took a few breaks here and there in college, and I traveled around Mexico and Costa Rica and Alaska, and I always had a camera with me, and I was always taking just awesome outdoor nature adventure style photography. And I think I sold 3 or 4 pictures along the way for, you know, $100 a shot or whatever, and kind of figured out, well, I think I want to pursue photography and stick with this, but I have to make a living at it at some point too that'll actually pay the bills. So let's give newspaper photography a try.
Outdoor newspaper photography is something you and I have been doing together forever.
Yeah.
And, well, and you said you always wanted to be like Marty Stouffer when you grew up. When you actually grow up, tell me, okay?
Yeah, I'll get there someday, maybe not.
So let's go shoot some waterfalls.
All right, sounds good.
So getting out in front of the camera, if I recall, this is the second time we've had you on camera. Remember the first one?
No, it's not jogging the memory.
Oh, Klamath River, when I accidentally threw the GoPro into the river and I had to stay dry, you had to strip down to your underwear to go get the camera.
Oh yeah, I remember being the hero that day. I'll get my skivvies and jump in and get it for you.
You're earning your $4 today, Jamie. But you know, a lot of what you do behind the camera, whether you're shooting waterfalls or trees or anything, really, a lot of principles are the same, right?
Yeah, I think in my experience shooting outdoor photography and my travels and adventures, nature is kind of like wrangling a child or trying to shoot an animal that won't cooperate. You never really know what she's going to give you. So when shooting outdoor stuff, you want to take advantage of what the light is doing that day or what the wildlife's doing that day. Really be opportunistic in what you see in the outdoors. Take advantage when you got it.
Let's see what light we got. All right.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Assignment Waterfall.
Piercing Waterfall, you know, it's a really cool one out near Prospect. A lot of places to shoot it. What's the first thing is you got to pick your angle.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these falls have nice viewing platforms, and that's typically a good place to start. You get a nice level spot for the tripod to set up. It's safe, so, you know, start off with a nice, just classic shot. You're gonna frame the whole waterfall, get a nice, easy setup with your tripod, and start going to work. You know, and from there you might start looking to get a little more brave, a little more different angles you can find, get off trail a little bit, you know, while being safe at the same time. No?
Getting wet today?
Well, we'll see about that.
All right, let's go. So how do you get that sexy water shot?
Yeah, to get that cool blurred water, you need to have a really slow shutter speed. So a nice way to do that is to have a polarizing filter for your SLR lens. That'll help lessen the amount of light coming into the camera, and also to come really early in the morning or come in the evening when the light's getting low. And set your camera's shutter speed to match that low light. You also want to have the ISO of your camera. That's the sensitivity of your sensor's camera to light, as low as it'll go. And that will make your shutter speed have to be lower also. And it'll also get you the best image quality out of the camera.
All right, let's see it, man.
All right, let's give it a go. So I'm framed up here. I like my frame, just a good standard wide shot. I'm bringing my ISO all the way down as low as she'll go. I'm looking at my meter and getting that shutter speed down there. It looks like I'm at a whole 1 second shutter speed at f22. Nice even lighting across the waterfall. And the other trick of the trade here is to never, when you have a slow shutter speed, to try to hold the camera and actually take it right there, because your finger is going to introduce a little bit of camera shake, and that's going to wreck the shot. So you can either have a trigger release, or just the poor man's version, put your camera on the tripod, on the timer, and use that. So I've got a 2-second delay on the timer here.
Oh, that's how you do it.
That's one of the tricks of the trade. Step away.
I always thought you had such a steady hand.
Yeah, let it do its thing and see what you got.
That's how you take a picture of a waterfall, Jamie Lush. But when it's somebody like me, this is how I take a picture of a waterfall. And you know, 95% or more of us now coming out of these places, we're taking pictures with our cameras.
You know, as much as I hate to admit it, the smartphones are starting to do a really good job of taking pictures.
Yeah.
You know, the image quality out of them is really quite amazing. You don't quite have the ability to get in there and change the settings to get that cool blurred water and do that artsy-fartsy stuff, but as far as just family pictures go, it's hard to go wrong with the phone. You can get some great shots.
So all the other things, just before you're messing with your aperture and all that in your camera, pick your right location, frame your photo the way you want it, work big and then work yourself down, and then take it home and figure it out.
Yeah, there's a few tips you can definitely keep in mind though. If you've got the waterfall in full sun and then your subject or your family's up in full shade, that can be difficult for a phone to get image quality in the faces of your subjects and pull it out in detail in the waterfall. So you'd want to try to match with however the light's on the waterfall with the light on your subject. So if the waterfall's in full sun, keep your subjects in full sun. If the waterfall's in full shade, try to find a shady spot for your subject. Also, turning the flash on with the smartphone can help bring out detail in the faces if they're in shade and the waterfall is really bright in the background.
Cool.
Another thing to keep in mind with the phone and your family is, like, I know when I take my 8-year-old on adventures into the outdoors, oftentimes the best pictures I get are not necessarily them standing smiling at the camera with the waterfall behind them. Some of the best shots are when my son finds a funny looking pine cone or finds a rock to jump off of, or in any sort, way, form, interacting with the scene, interacting in nature. Don't be afraid to take those shots. Those candid pictures are usually the best ones.
Awesome. Welcome back to Oregon Outdoors. Now, for the last leg of our waterfall tour in Southern Oregon, we drop out of the Rogue River Basin into the Umpqua River Basin. This is Clearwater Falls, this beautiful run of the Clearwater River. The river starts from some really ice-cold springs about 1.5 miles upstream of here. This is the first big dump. This place is loaded with moss. Beautiful place to shoot. The forest up here really takes a beating, as you can see, all these down trees across the river. Pretty high elevation, so even on warm days in the valley, it gets nice and cool up here.